Good morning, Year 1. Today we're going to be learning about timelines. So let's start by writing the long date, which is Tuesday the 19th of May 2020. And the learning intention is to be able to create a timeline. So you can pause the video and get that written down now. Okay, well done. So remember, you will need an exercise book, your pencil, and very importantly, you will also need a ruler for today's English lesson. So Year 1, have you heard of a timeline before? A timeline. Yes or no? Okay, if yes, what is it? If you're not sure, give it a guess. You can write it down or you can tell your adult. Well done, let's see if you are correct. So, what is a timeline? A timeline is a way to show how time passes. So, this timeline here, this is the line in the timeline. So this timeline is showing us what's happening in this little girl's morning. So what's happening in just 1 hour of her morning. So at 7 o'clock in the morning, she wakes up. At 7:15, which is just 15 minutes later, she brushes her teeth. At 20 past 7, 7:20, she gets dressed. At 7:45, she has her breakfast. And by 8 o'clock, she is ready to catch the bus to get to school. So, on the left-hand side of the timeline is where we start the starting time. This is where the timeline begins. And where it ends on the right-hand side is the finishing time. This is where the timeline finishes. Like I said, this timeline is showing us what's happening in just 1 hour, but timelines can also represent days, weeks, months, years, and sometimes many, many years. For example, this timeline is used to show some big events that happened in history over many, many years. Here is a timeline made by a girl called Cindy. She has drawn a line across the middle of the page. Not a very straight line, as you can see. I'm sure all of you will be using your rulers to draw straight lines. She has made some points, as we can see here, and each of these points is a year in her life. So she was born in 2014, which I'm sure many of you will also be born in the same year. If you're 6, if you're 5, you might be born in 2015. You might have to ask your grown up which year you were born in. So as we can see, her starting point is when she was born. So she's done a little line up and she's got a picture of herself as a baby and she's written born and when she was born. So the month with a capital letter and the date. A year later, in 2015, she learnt how to crawl. I can crawl. In 2016, she learnt how to walk. I can walk by myself. In 2017, she went on a holiday she went to ski. So her first time to snow ski, because she went skiing. 2018 is when she started going to school. 2019, she went on a holiday to Florida. And 2020 is when her Aunt Susie came to visit, maybe a very special auntie that came from another country. So can you see it's very clear? There's not lots and lots of writing, it's not a story. These are facts. Remember, facts are things that are true. These are real events that have happened in Cindy's life. They are quite big things that have happened, life-changing things that have happened in her life. So she's chosen one thing for every year in her life. So Year 1, you're going to be making your own timelines of your life, just like Cindy has. So you'll need to start by turning your page the other way around so you have more space. You'll need your ruler and your pencil, and you need to draw a straight line across the page. You'll need to find out all the dates, so what date you were born, and then each point should be the next year in your life up until where we are now, which is 2020. You will then need to think, so you might need to take 5 or 10 minutes out just to brainstorm and think about what are the big events that have happened in your life. Here are some examples of things to add to give you some ideas and to help you out. So maybe you want to start by writing when you were born. Should that be over here at the starting point or at the finishing point? Well done, you're right. It should be at the starting point when you were born, the beginning of your life. You might want to also include when you had your first word, when you first started speaking. Maybe you want to include when you took your first step and started walking. Maybe you want to write when you first started school. Maybe you want to include a first holiday or a nice trip. Maybe you moved house or country. Maybe a brother or sister was born. Maybe you got a pet. So these are some ideas that you can use, or you can include anything else that you want to. It's completely up to you. So if you're in my phonics group, Mrs. Metta's phonics group, and Miss Morgan's phonics group, you're going to be doing this just like this in your books with words, and if you want to, you can add in pictures and colouring. That will be so fantastic. You could even include real photographs if you want to. If you're in Mrs. Coker or Miss Thurlow's phonics group, you're also going to be creating a timeline, so you'll need to draw that same line across the page with a ruler and include all the dates, just like the other groups. And you're going to be drawing pictures for each year in your life. So for example, I've drawn a picture of a newborn baby to show when you were born. Or here I've drawn a picture of my first day at school. You can draw a picture of you learning how to walk. It's completely up to you what you want to draw. If you can, I would love to see these groups also using words and labelling their pictures. So you can write born, speaking, school, anything you can will be fantastic. These are just the points again to remind you and give you some help. So let's talk through the steps again of how to make a timeline. The first thing is you'll need to make a title. For example, if I'm making my own timeline, I might call it Miss Zadie's Life or Miss Zadie's Timeline. Remember, the title goes at the top and you might want to underline it. The next thing you'll need to do, so step 2, is to draw a straight line with a ruler across the page. Step 3 is to draw points for each year of your life. Step 4 is to add the key events of your life for each year using the word mat on the previous page and also your phonics mats that you've all got at home to help you to spell words. Step 5 is to draw pictures and to colour in your timeline and make it presentable if you wish to. Okay, that's it for today, Year 1. Again, here's the Year 1 email address. I would love to see all of your amazing timelines. Take care and see you tomorrow.